Earlier in the day, the death toll for last week's violence rose to 20 killed after an injured Palestinian died of his wounds. The confrontations around the Gazan population's 6-week-long sit-in protest are the bloodiest since Israel's 2014 offensive on the enclave. This Friday, the UN's Human Rights Office says it has indications that Israeli troops used excessive force during last week's deadly crackdown. Well, for more on this, I'm joined in the studio by our senior international affairs editor, Rob Parsons. Rob, hello, thank you for being with us. What's the latest on this?
Well, the situation doesn't seem to be quite as violent as it was last Friday, but there have been a number of incidents. You mentioned 3 people appear to have been wounded already, and it seems that the Israeli soldiers, when people approach the border fence, are shooting to hit their legs rather than hit higher up. That seems to be the case anyway, but the numbers that are turning up appear to be pretty much as high as last time. Tens of thousands of the reports that have been coming through. Some Palestinian protesters have been burning tyres, apparently in the hope that by creating a smoke screen, they'll block the view of Israeli snipers trying to shoot at people approaching the fence. But at this point, at least, we haven't seen the sort of violence we saw last time, although the numbers are no less than they were last week.
And remind us of the aim of this protest.
Well, I think most of all, the aim of the protest is to draw the attention of the world community to the plight of people living in Gaza, and to try and do something about ending the blockade. You know, the Palestinians, Hamas in Gaza, have tried all kinds of different ways, most notably the military approach through rockets and tunnels. That's failed, essentially. It's not achieved anything for Gaza. It's backfired to a certain extent, one could argue, on the leadership of Hamas as well, because they're blamed by the population of Gaza for their plight to a certain extent. So perhaps I think by this they're trying to sort of swing things around to take a more pacifist approach and attract the attention of the world community at a time when the world community seems to be looking in another direction.
And we heard the reaction today, only a week later, of the UN Human Rights Commission. Is the international community doing enough to step in and avoid a new bloodbath?
Well, there's not an awful lot that the international community can do except to issue condemnations of what has been happening, which it already has done. There have been calls from the UN and from the European Union for an independent investigation. The Israelis say they're not going to accept an independent investigation. So that avenue appears to be blocked. But I think the bigger problem really is what I just hinted at, that the international community, and in particular the regional community, the Arab community at the moment, is focused on other things. There are bigger issues in the Arab world at the moment for the first time in many, many years. Syria, Iraq, whether Turkey is going to attack the Kurds, all those sort of things, the war in Yemen. And the Palestinians find themselves no longer the focus of attention they have been in the past. That, I think, is the essential thing that the Palestinians in Gaza are trying to change at the moment, but they remain divided amongst themselves. And in those circumstances, trying to get that sort of attention is going to prove very, very difficult.
Rob Parsons, thank you.